Musashi's discipline. How to become so focused people think you've gone crazy. Earth ring. The confrontation with truth. You feel busy, but never fulfilled. You sit in front of your computer for hours, but when you lie down at night, a silent voice asks, "What did you really do today?" That emptiness has a name. It's the gap between being in motion and actually making progress. And Miyamoto Musashi knew this better than anyone. That's why, before teaching any sword technique, he taught the brutal art of self-evaluation. The earth ring represents the ground you're standing on, the foundation. But most people build castles in the air and call it productivity. After defeating his greatest rival, Musashi didn't celebrate. He vanished for 2 years to study his own flaws. He knew the worst defeat is thinking you're winning when you're just distracted. Discipline begins the moment illusion crumbles and ego dies. Think of Gohan, just a regular guy with big dreams. But when he decided to track every minute of his day for a week, he found something devastating. 6 hours a day on his phone, 2 hours of real work, and the rest, empty motion. That feeling of exhaustion without results. It's because your effort isn't going where it should. He didn't need more time, he needed more truth. This is where change begins, when you stop running from your mediocrity and start facing it. When you realize you've been lying to yourself every day and decide to break the cycle. The earth ring doesn't ask you to improve. It forces you to admit you're far from where you think you are. Only those brave enough to stare brutally into the mirror can build something real. The rest is just noise. Water ring. Flow instead of forcing after facing the truth. Gohan did what everyone does. Tried to change everything at once. Woke up at 4 a.m., meditated, worked out, read, fasted, planned. It lasted until 6:30. By 10 a.m., he'd given up on all of it. And he felt worse than before. The crushing guilt made him believe he had no willpower. But the problem wasn't him. It was the plan. His mind wanted transformation, but his body was still at the starting line. Musashi said, "Water takes the shape of its container." Many see that as flexibility. But actually, it means strategy without rigidity. In his first 20 duels, Musashi never used the same weapon twice. Why? Because he knew victory didn't come from sticking to the perfect plan. It came from adapting to the battlefield. Whoever fights against reality loses. Whoever flows with it shapes the world around them. So Gohan started again, this time like water. Nothing dramatic, just 10 push-ups, 25 minutes of deep focus, a sticky note with one habit. At first it felt pathetic, but by the second week he realized 70 push-ups, 175 minutes of focused work. For the first time he wasn't failing. For the first time he was winning, not by forcing, but by flowing. By dropping the hero act and embracing consistency. This is where discipline starts to take root. When you realize that winning isn't about defeating the world, it's about beating yesterday's version of you. It's not about running a marathon. It's about taking that first step, and then another. The water ring teaches us that quiet consistency beats bursts of motivation, because the stone that changes the most isn't shattered by force. It's shaped by water's gentle, relentless touch. Fire ring. Turning rage into fuel progress is dangerous, because that's when comparison is born. As Gohan started improving, pride showed up, but so did rage. He saw others stronger, younger, richer. People already where he hadn't even begun. Instead of feeling inspired, he shrank. "I'm a failure," he thought. And in that moment, he didn't lose to others. He lost to comparison. The fire ring reveals this. Burning isn't bad. What's bad is when you burn yourself. Musashi lost his father at age 7. He could have drowned in grief, but he chose to turn rage into ritual. Every sword strike was a silent scream, fury redirected. Rage, when left wild, destroys, but when you aim it at your weakness, it becomes the purest form of energy. Gohan created a nightly ritual. He wrote what he hated about himself. Only did 30 push-ups, ate garbage, checked my phone during focus, and next to each one, he wrote the revenge. Tomorrow, 35 push-ups, prepped lunch, phone in another room. Each anger became a command, each frustration a new order. He didn't need motivation anymore. The pain of mediocrity was his most loyal fuel. You don't need to love yourself all the time. You just need to refuse to accept your weakest version. The fire ring is brutal. It doesn't want you to smile, it wants you to burn. And while burning, destroy what weakens you. Rage isn't the enemy. It just needs a target. Most people aim at themselves, but the warrior targets the habit that sabotages him and kills it. With fury, with discipline, with fire. Wind ring, the danger of feeling ready. After 3 months of steady routine, Gohan became a role model. Friends asked for his secret. Family said he had changed so much. He felt proud, and rightly so. But then something subtle happened. Confidence turned into arrogance. He stopped tracking his time, skipped planning. I'm already disciplined, he thought. And that thought was the beginning of the fall. Musashi won over 60 duels, never lost. Yet at 50 he said, I still haven't found the way. That's not modesty, it's strategy. The real enemy isn't others, it's your own satisfied ego. Musashi studied other sword schools not to copy, but to remind himself he didn't know everything. That's the wind, silent, invisible, and strong enough to topple giants when they least expect it. Gohan felt it, 2 weeks without tracking, and half his habits vanished. 4 hours of work turned into 2. His workouts shrank. He didn't even notice the fall, not until he was already down. That's when he understood. Systems aren't for beginners. They're for those who want to stay on top. The one who thinks he no longer needs rituals is the one who needs them the most. The wind ring teaches you to stay a student. Gohan made a new rule. Each month, study someone better, read another book, try another method, and feel small again. That intentional humility kept him growing. The master who thinks he's arrived is already falling. But the warrior who keeps learning, even after victory, will never be defeated, because the wind doesn't knock him down. It pushes him forward. Void ring, the acceptance that sets you free. One morning, Gohan woke up exhausted. Not physically, but existentially. He looked at his rigid routine and asked, when will this end? When will it get easier? It felt like running 1,000 miles and still being at the starting line. But he didn't know that question was the door to the next level. The answer wasn't in more effort, but in accepting that effort never ends. The void ring doesn't teach you to stop. It teaches you to stop resisting. Musashi wrote, accept everything as it is. That line sounds soft, but it's the strongest of all. Because when you accept that the war against mediocrity is eternal, you stop running from it. You become it. You rise each day not to finish the battle, but because fighting is who you are. Acceptance isn't surrender. It's fusion. Gohan stopped asking, "When will it be over?" and started asking, "What's today's battle?" That simple shift changed everything. He realized discipline isn't a place you reach. It's a practice you adopt forever. Just like breathing isn't something that ends, neither is self-discipline. The only difference is that breathing is automatic, and discipline has to become automatic too. The void ring breaks the loop of hope and frustration. When you accept you'll never get there, you stop chasing in circles now and start walking straight. The destination isn't a place, it's the walk itself. Musashi didn't paint to become an artist. He painted because a warrior must paint. Discipline isn't a path to something else, it is the place, and once you see that, it finally stays. The warrior begins again. Each ring is a portal. Earth makes you face the truth. Water teaches you how to walk. Fire shows you how to turn pain into power. Wind warns you about the illusion of success. And void frees you from obsession with the end. Gohan didn't become a hero. He became a disciplined human, not because he won, but because he accepted he'd have to fight every single day. True discipline isn't performative. It's silent, invisible, painful. It's what you do when no one's watching. It's that lonely decision in the dark that changes the course of your destiny. When people finally notice your change, it'll be too late, because you won't be doing it for them anymore, but for who you've become. Musashi said the sword and the mind must walk together. But what he meant is that external battles only matter when they reflect the ones within. When you stop chasing discipline as a tool and start living it as identity, the game shifts. You won't just be someone with good habits, you'll be a warrior, and no one will understand how you got like this, and that's okay.